Hi, welcome to IBC 2024. My name's Claire Plaisted, and today I'm in the Content Everywhere studio, and I'm joined by Andy Hooper from Ateliere. Hi, Andy, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So, tell me a little bit about Ateliere.
Sure. So Ateliere is a software company in the media technology industry. So we're here at IBC showing off two of our products at the show. We are known perhaps a little bit more traditionally and before this IBC for our media supply chain work.
Right.
So Ateliere Connect is a media supply chain platform that runs wholly on AWS. So Ateliere was one of the first companies to really go full on 100% into the cloud as the basis for what we do. And our customers are therefore running their supply chains on Ateliere Connect on AWS in the cloud. And so we're doing that for people like Lionsgate, for MGM. We work with BT, with Viaplay in Europe. So we've got a growing roster of customers who are doing their supply chains in the cloud on Ateliere Connect. And then perhaps newly introduced to people at the show is our new product, Ateliere Live. So Ateliere Live moves us into the live production space. We see a lot of opportunity to add live production capabilities as an input into the future archive. And so we're doing a lot of work with thinking about how our portfolio evolves for the future of broadcasting and the future technology base that broadcasters will need, as well as episodic and film producing content companies. But really with Ateliere Live, in terms of immediate opportunities for people, it's really about providing cost savings and sustainability benefits and gains in their live production pipelines. And we're achieving that in two ways. We believe we're one of the very few companies at IBC who are showing all of the live production happening in the GPU. So we run on Nvidia GPUs, either on-premise or in the cloud, and we can get very significant technology footprint gains within a live production pipeline as a result. Our customer SVT, for example, has gone on record as saying that they are saving at least 70% in terms of their carbon footprint emissions as a result of using our technology.
How are you different from some of your competitors?
Well, I think that all GPU based, if I talk to live first, so I think that all GPU based approach is certainly something that we believe is quite unique. That gives you that footprint gain. It means that the video is only let out of the GPU when it's ready to be distributed. And as a result, if you look at a lot of systems that are out there today, they tend to have chains of processing steps for whatever you want to do to the video. So you might have to transcode it, then you might have to put your graphics overlays on, then you're doing your actual video switching, your camera inputs, and that might all happen in lots of different compute processes if it's in the cloud or even different physical machines. We're doing everything in the GPU. So all the bits stay in the GPU until they're ready to, so they've been composited, you've got your graphics on there, you've done your camera selections, and so that makes it incredibly efficient from a power consumption perspective for a production. We think that's quite unique. We also apply a similar logic to when we ingest from the cameras. So if it's a remote site, a sports venue for example, we pass all the camera inputs through a standard server with a GPU, and the GPU gives us the ability to do some really interesting things, and we think another unique capability is our proxy-based production. So because we're going through the GPU, we can quite easily produce multiple versions on the output side. So one of those could be a really low latency but lower quality production feed so that your remote editors can get that content really quickly, make their editorial decisions. But then your other feed could be a really high bandwidth, your main production feed. You could tune the latency on that, slow it down a little bit to make sure that all of your production commands can reach it in time, maybe just by a second or two. But that means that you can then optimize your network resources. So proxy-based production is the other, we think, quite unique thing that we're doing here as well.
And what are you showing here on your stand?
You can actually see all of that, quite incredibly, plus more. What we're doing is some actual live productions, a bit like this. So we've got an actual green screen on the booth where we're interviewing some luminaries from the industry about what they think about where the industry is going, the evolution from more traditional broadcast architecture to IT, and some of the bigger themes around that. So all of those will be produced on our YouTube channel after the show, and they're going out live as well. So that production is happening, and we're using our own software, of course, to do all of that. And we've also got some partner integrations on display. So when it comes to the way we will now go to market with Ateliere Live, we'll be really putting a lot of focus on our ecosystem program. So we have an integration from a company, for example, from the UK called Squared Paper. They're quite specialist in building very sort of familiar and comfortable broadcast control room environments. So anyone who's sat in a broadcast control room will feel very at home with that. But it's our GPU-based capability underneath. Similarly, we have an integration from a partner called Tinkerlist and their Q's news rundown application, again, sitting on top of our API and driving in real time the play out of the news production as that schedule changes in real time in the Tinkerlist app. So those are all things that you can come and see demoed for real on the booth right now. And then on the Ateliere Connect side, we're also right here at the show launching our Connect AI. It's now generally available. It was actually previewed at NAB, and now it's generally available on top of our Ateliere Connect media supply chain. So that means that we can now have a full generative AI conversational interaction with the supply chain system to get your job done. So that's quite a compelling way of starting to think about how we might interact with our systems in the industry in future as well.
Okay. What can we expect from your company the next 12 months?
I think it's going to be an incredibly exciting time for us. I think there are two main things I'd highlight. Number one is more partnerships. We think that the ecosystem program is, especially for live, a fundamental part of what we now want to drive. The more local SI partners and solution providers that we can partner with, the more technology partners that we can bring into the ecosystem, the better from our point of view. The types of production that we are going to be enabling is growing in, let's say, strategic importance for the producers themselves. You know, we're going from doing some relatively small productions a year ago to now doing some quite major nature programs, for example, for SVT, sports events for various producers, and SVT have just been on stage with us today and talked about doing the Olympics in 2 years' time. So they've said it, so I can say it. So that's great, and I mean, the confidence they've put into that technology is therefore quite astonishing from our point of view about quite what belief they have in it and where they see it within their own production chain. And I suppose the other thing you can expect to see is that we'll start to then merge the capabilities of Connect and Live, and we're very much looking at the future of archival in the industry, the broadcast industry, as a very fertile ground for us to go and find some solutions in that regard. Because ultimately, what this technology enables is for you to store all of your content for much longer in the cloud and then reuse it in future to reproduce new productions. And so the way that our Connect supply chain and our live technology interacts there will be a key enabler of that, we think.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming into the studio and telling me all about it today.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.